Talking about pressure trying to be exerted by the House Speaker, but from the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue at the White House, you just this morning are learning of this full court press we can expect from the president and the members of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Indeed, John, and this is going to be as big of a campaign rollout since last year. And I am told now the president is going to be traveling as soon as Saturday to start making his case on this health care bill out in the country. We are told he is likely to go to Kentucky first, then Tennessee, then will be traveling next week as well. Important to keep in mind the political geography here. All of these House conservative Republicans who are skeptical and outright oppose this plan come from Trump districts. So this will be the first test of the Trump movement, its muscle. Can it bring voters around? Will these conservative Republicans fold? But the president will be traveling this weekend. He was originally scheduled to go to Florida to his retreat there, but is changing his plans and will be out in the country selling this weekend and next week. His advisors believe that it's going to be a mix of traveling as well as sort of doing a lot of this work from the White House as well, going directly after senators and members of Congress who are opposed to this. We started seeing some of that last evening. Rand Paul, for example, he called him out directly on Twitter saying, "Come over to my side, we can win you over on this." Not coincidentally, the president is traveling to Kentucky on Saturday. We are told this morning here. So the beginning of a test of this Trump organization. Can it actually move its movement to pass legislation? It's an open question at this hour.
Look, interesting as I go to Sunland that he's going to Kentucky, right, a state that went for him solidly, but also a state where, a number of folks do say, they said to me, we benefited a lot from Obamacare. Sure. So he needs to sell this to them and say that it is going to be better for them.
Rand Paul is also the senator from Kentucky, and I think that has a lot to do.
He wants to get
maybe
his
with
friend
this trip
via the Twitter reach out and now the actual physical reach out in that state. Sunland, let's talk about the markup as we watch some of the Republican speaking here and we're listening into this. Let's talk about the markup meetings happening today. Where are you hearing they can find compromise?
Well, that is a big question going into this. These two dueling House markup committees today. It is a rather painstaking process, and each committee will be focusing on the more, basically the nitty-gritty of all this, the more controversial aspects, things like tax credits, things like Medicaid, really where we've heard the outpouring of criticism coming from many Republicans. And so the goal today is to figure out areas where they can make tweaks, can make changes to make this bill more amenable to Republicans and garner more support. And as we've been talking about over the last 48 hours, essentially since this bill has been released, many Republicans have said very vocally up here on Capitol Hill, look, this bill in its current form is just not something that I can support. Here's a sampling of what we're hearing up here from Republicans.
This is not the repeal bill that we've been waiting for all these years. This is a huge opportunity that's been missed.
The first thing Republicans are bringing forward is a piece of legislation that says we repeal it, but keeps Medicaid expansion and actually expands it, that keeps some of the tax increases. That is not what we promised the American people we were going to do.
And going into this markup today, which will start in a little less than a half hour, Democrats are also lining up a whole slew of amendments. The goal here is to force Republicans to go on the record, take some tough votes here. This will likely go well into the evening. All the chairmen are saying, John and Poppy, to get ready for a very long night, potentially early morning ahead.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a long several days there. All right, guys. Stand by. Again, we're watching House leadership now speak about this plan they now have to repeal and replace Obamacare. That's House Majority